Alright, this is just going to be a quick video on how to memorize the derivative of trig functions. And here are 4 complicated trig functions. Sine and cosine, the derivative of these, you should just have memorized. These are like kind of standard. The derivative of sine is cosine. As long as you know one of them, you pretty much know the other one. So the derivative of sine is going to be cosine, and the derivative of cosine is going to be sine, except this one is going to be negative. And using this table to memorize the rest of the derivatives, you pretty much just look at the row it's in. So for example, let's say you're asked to find a derivative of tan x. Well, looking at the table, you look at where tan is, and you look at the row it's in, secant and secant. So the derivative of tan is going to be secant squared x, because secant and secant are in its row. The derivative of secant, it works the same way with any one of these functions. And you look at secant on the table, and you can look at either one, the first or the second one, but let's just choose the second one. The derivative of secant, well, in its secant row is going to be secant and tan. So your answer is going to be secant tan, or tan secant, whichever one you prefer. And same thing with the bottom row, the derivative of cotangent. Well, you look at the row it's in. Cotangent's right here, and cosecant and negative cosecant. So your answer is going to be negative cosecant x squared. And lastly, the derivative of, let's say, cosecant, sorry. Well, you look at where cosecant is, you can pick either one, this one or this one, but let's choose the middle one. Well, what's in its row? Well, you have cosecant, that negative, and cotangent. So your answer is going to be negative cosecant x cotangent x. And that's pretty much it. I kind of memorized the table as it's just like a 2 by 3 table, and I memorized the top row, secant tan, like really fast. Like that's how I memorized it, secant tan. And then the bottom row is kind of just like all the opposites. The opposite of tan is cotangent, and the opposite of secant is like cosecant, because they are kind of like the inverses of sine and cosine. And one more thing to memorize is that this middle box, or you can make it either one, but one of the cosecants have to be negative, and I usually make it the middle one.